So happy 2020 across all of our campuses at Bethlehem Church. It's good to see you. Look good. It's a brand new year. It's a brand new decade. If you're with me here at 316 in the north or the south venue, if you're at our Oconee campus with Pastor Jeremy, our 211 campus with Pastor Matt, if you're watching online, traveling, coming back in town, whatever, sick at home, we're glad you are with us. And it is just, it's 2020. Come on. Some of you got to feel old in this room. You know what I mean? It's 20, not me, but some of you got to feel old in this room. It's 2020. Look at the person right around you, say happy 2020. It's here. And the thing about 2020 is we're not just looking back at 1 year, 2019. We can look back at a whole decade. Come on. 2010, I didn't even know Bethlehem Church was on the map. I wasn't around here. Right? And it's like 10 years later, and wham, man, I got a lot less hair and a lot more of you guys, you know what I mean, than I did in 2020. And so it's just kind of one of those, I'm a sucker for like chasing wild links sometimes on Twitter or something like that. And you'll find it or you'll see a show that says like the music of the 80s. And you look at the decade, or the movies of the 90s. You know what I mean? And so you got a decade, your profile. Or big events of the 2000s. Now we can literally look back and go, here's the last 10 years, the 2010s. Come on. And we're in 2020, a whole nother decade. We were talking backstage. I'm like, my kids are going to be graduating in 2030. I am getting old, but think about it. I was reading a New York Times article that profiled some big moments the last 10 years, like cultural moments, things that the last 10 years we now consider normative that wasn't even around 10 years ago. So for a little fun, again, just cultural trends. 33 of them the New York Times had, and I'm not going to profile 33. Here's a few of them I thought was interesting. One, the Avengers were nowhere to be found 10 years ago. The first time we saw an Avenger movie, if you can believe this, was 2012. And now, the last 10 years, we're super saturated with an Avengers movie. Is there anybody in here who hasn't seen one Avengers movie? That I've never seen one. Okay, a few of you. Okay, welcome to the world, okay? Glad you're here. Two things, you're holier than the rest of us. Or, I don't know what's wrong with you, okay? And now we're super saturated with spandex because of these guys. You know what I mean? It's been like the last 10 years. Think about it. Instagram killed the paparazzi. Instagram killed the paparazzi, the tabloids, if you will. A free photo sharing app that wasn't even on anybody's radar 10 years ago has done away with the need for the paparazzi, the image. Think about it. We used to take pictures to capture memories. Now we take pictures to make memories, right? There used to be a time when we took pictures of important events. Now we take pictures to make everybody think we're doing something really important and at a really awesome event. Here's one, the last 10 years. YouTube changed the fame game. Now this was fascinating when I was looking at it. In 2010, YouTube was just 5 years old. Now it serves more than 2 billion monthly users. I use the word billion with a B. Say it, billion. That's a good marketing plan right there. 2 billion, if you will. A new era of stars have emerged, redefining what it is for the world to know you. This was crazy. Did you know there are 300 hours of content, 300 hours of video content uploaded every minute to YouTube? Come on, man. Some of you anybody say, I've never been to YouTube in my life, raise your hand. And you're not going to do it after that. No, I'm not doing that, right? Like 30 million visitors a day. 30 million visitors a day. Podcasts became a way of life in the last 10 years. Anybody listen to podcasts in the room? Anybody podcast? All right, about half of you, good. Some of you are like, what's a podcast? There's only one. It's called the Bethlehem Church Podcast. And you can listen. But instead of being a way that we listen to certain things, podcasts became a way of life where we select the content we want to listen to. You all know we curate all our information. Like there is no real news anymore. You know that, don't you? There's the news you want to hear and the bias you want to hear. That's for free. That's all of us. All right, we curate everything now and choose to our preference, and we think our preference, this is the best and this is the truth. Okay, it's the way it works. And then here's one, Netflix and binging. 10 years ago, when you thought about binging, you think about eating too much. Or you did a little much too much, you know what, on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? That's what we thought about binging, but now we think about it when it comes to consuming content. Church, times change, things change, culture changes, trends change, how we consume changes, and most of the time we just kind of go with it, adjust, and there's new norms that happen. But then there's sometimes, and I want to press a little bit this next few weeks, sometimes I think it's good to press against the norm. And by normal, I mean what's expected, doing what everybody does. So let me give you a couple of words. Let me give you words that are normative for all of our life. Normal. Like this is what we all in this room, all different, all from different places, but what we would all consider normal. Let me give you a couple of words. Words or slogans that we would call normal life in 2020. Busy, pressure, stress, worry, things to do, places to be, people to see, stuff to accomplish. You can come across and, well, that's not really my words. Now, come on. All of us in this room, living in the suburbs with kids, these words right here are words that define most all of our lives. We would consider this right here normal life. Pressure, stress, worry, you fill in the blank on the things to do, the places to be, people to see, stuff to accomplish. But that is normative for all of us, me included, your pastor included. Like if I'm honest with you at times, and again, you may not be this way. Oh, Coney 211, you're way more spiritual than we are right here. But listen. Here's what I'm saying. If I'm honest with you, many times I feel like my life is a balancing act between these things right here. I don't think mine, you do. I'm giving you words. Yes, you do. All of us in this room. That's what we live under. Stress, worry, got this to be. It's on my calendar. Got this to accomplish. All these things, pressure. We call it normal. And let me tell you why I've learned Jason does this. You fill your name in. Why do we endure all these things? Why do we endure this way of life? Here's why we do it. Because up under it, we all think somewhere, if we endure this, it leads to this right here. Prosperity. Now, prosperity, I don't mean just being rich. I mean full of life, full of meaning. Happy kids, happy wife equals happy life. You know what I mean? So we're busy. We're always trying to accomplish something. We're here to there to yonder, knocking it out, things to do, pressure, and we just choose to endure it. Why? Because we believe at the end that's where prosperity is. And by prosperity, I mean fullness. The normal life thinks, normal thinking thinks in 2020, in Western culture, in America, normal life thinks all of those things, stuff, worry, stress, pressure, things to be, places to think, stuff to accomplish, all of that will lead to prosperity. I am saying let's push against that a little bit. The normal life the not normal life, what this series is, not normal doesn't buy into that. Think about it. When we use the words not normal. When we use the words not normal, what are we talking about? We think that's just not normal, weird. That's a little weird. I'm pulling for weird this year. That's a little quirky. I think quirky's okay. That's a little odd. That's a little offbeat. That's a little crazy. This is me saying normal is not just boring, it's exhausting. Anybody with me? This is me saying normal, not necessarily sin, but boy, it leads to a lot of mundane nothingness. Normal's not very memorable. So this is me pulling for not normal. In fact, one of the greatest ad campaigns I've ever seen was in the late 90s. You'll remember this when really Steve Jobs introduced Apple to the world, a brand new way of personal computing. He had this campaign that was here's to the crazy ones. Do you remember that? Some of you don't, but it's been redone about 20 different ways over the years. But here was the original. Here's to the crazy ones, the not normal ones, the people that change things. Take it away. Remember this a few years back.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
And they've done that campaign tons of different times in tons of different ways. Here's to the crazy ones. This is your pastor. In 2020, as we begin a new decade, as we begin a new year, as you look at a new you and a new view on things, what if this is just us saying normal doesn't change anything? Normal doesn't change you. This is me pulling for not normal. And we endure stress, we endure worry, we busy our lives up, places to be, stuff to accomplish, things to get done. I'm raising my hand saying that's words that can define our life. That's normal. And we do that because of prosperity. This is me saying I'm pulling for not normal in 2020. I'm pulling for not. Now, what do you mean? See, the word prosperity, Proverbs 11. I was studying in Proverbs. You don't have to turn there. We're going to go to Luke 17 in just a second. Whoever brings blessing, this is Proverbs, talking about this word prosperous. Whoever brings blessing, this is the ESV, will be enriched. Enriched means prosperous. And one who waters will himself be watered. That's Proverbs 11:25. That's the ESV. People always ask, what version does Jason preach from? I'm telling you right here, English Standard Version, the ESV. Now, I say that to go, I actually like this verse a little better in NIV. Don't tell anybody, okay? This is what I preach from, but let me give you this verse in the NIV. I think it's a little cleaner translation. A generous person will prosper. There's that word. We endure stress, we endure worry, we endure life. Why? We endure all this to get to prosperous. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Proverbs gives us a book full of wisdom. He uses the word prosperous, and here's what I want you to see. It's just me for a second. Church, this is me. I'm just saying this. I am not pointing fingers. I am raising my hand. Busy doesn't lead to prosperity. Stress doesn't lead to prosperity. Worry doesn't lead to prosperity. Stuff to do, things to be, places to accomplish doesn't lead to prosperity. You know what Scripture says? If you're taking notes, if they're with us in your bulletin, here's what Scripture says. Listen to me, church. Generosity leads to prosperity. And let me make sure I get you on the same page, because some of you heard the word generosity and you kind of go, oh, yeah, no, hold on. Here's what I want to contend the next few weeks. Generosity is a way of life, not just a specific act. Generosity is more than just giving money to somebody that you don't have to, but you want to. That's an act, that's good. No doubt about it. But I want to contend biblically, generosity is more about our posture to people and our posture to life than it is our bank accounts. All right? What do you mean? We are to be generous with our words, generous in our faith, generous with our time, generous with our talents. It's a posture of looking out. Generosity, listen to me, is about living with an abundance mentality, right? Not a scarcity mentality. The word prosper in Scripture actually means to be obese, to be overflowing, to be abundant, not to need a good diet plan, but that you have so much, that you have more than enough, that you live with an abundance mentality, not a scarcity mentality. Generosity is about, well, listen, here's what I would say. Generosity is a posture of life from front to back that is looking to bless others, not just be blessed. It's a posture of life that's looking to encourage and affirm others, not looking for encouragement and affirmation from everybody. It's a posture of life that's about investing and giving, not just getting and accumulating. I'm going to say that one more time because that'll preach. I don't think you're with me yet. A posture of life. Church, generosity is not like, that's right, man, be generous. Generosity is about a posture of life that is looking to bless instead of get blessing. It's about a posture of life that's looking to give and invest instead of get and accumulate. It's a posture of life that has way more to do with encouraging and affirming than always looking for encouragement and affirmation. Here's what I realized right here. Everybody considers themselves generous people because nobody considers themselves greedy people. But here's where it breaks down. There's a big difference between thinking generous thoughts and making generous choices. From front to the back. I need you in the back right here with me. 211 Oconee. You got to hear what I just said. Everybody thinks they're generous because nobody thinks they're greedy. But I want to push on you a little bit and say there's a big difference between having generous thoughts and choosing to make generous choices. There's a big difference between applauding generosity when we see it and choosing generosity even when we don't feel like it. It's the simple idea. I want to argue the not normal life is the generous life, that it's a generosity toward everything. And I want you to see the root system. So we begin a new year, Luke 17. If you got your Bibles, Luke 17, I want you to see the root system of generosity. This idea of an abundance mentality. That I've got more. I'm not looking for encouragement and affirmation. I'm so encouraged and affirmed, I'm looking to encourage and affirm. I'm not looking to be blessed, I'm looking to bless. What's up under a generous life? What's up under Luke 17, verse 11? It's a picture in Jesus' life, and here's what it says. On the way to Jerusalem, he was passing along between Samaria and Galilee. So Samaria and Galilee means Jews and Samaritans. These two people don't get along. Two different cities, two different people don't get along. Jesus is between these two. And as he entered a village, he was met by 10 lepers. Not leopards, lepers, right? 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices saying, Jesus, have mercy on us. When he saw them, he said to them, go and show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. So let me give you a little thing. We all heard of leprosy. We don't know it in our times. It's a disease that we don't know anything about, but we've heard of it. It was a nasty, awful, just terrible disease. Actually, the oldest recorded disease in all of human history. That if you had it, it was contagious, and the results were nightmarish. What do you mean? Like fingers and toes and hands and skin literally falling off of you. Nasty. It was prevalent in biblical times. And what would happen is you lost sensitivity. And so as your body parts, you didn't know when something hurt, so you kept walking on it. And literally, body parts, so they were seen as cursed, lepers were. So you couldn't be around any of your family because it was contagious, and you were seen as cursed. And so most of them had colonies that lived between the cities. Here's Jesus walking between the cities, and there's 10 lepers, a little leper colony. Body parts falling off, nasty, repugnant, as bad as you can think of a disease. Take cancer to a different level. As awful of a disease we know in our time as cancer. Go up a notch, and it was visibly what this was. Go up, and it was just awful to live through it. And then they walk, and they don't even ask, listen, they don't even ask for healing. They ask for mercy. Because when you're cursed, you don't need healing, you just need mercy. Somebody give you a break. So they look at Jesus and say, we need mercy. And Jesus says, I want you to go see the priest. That's kind of weird. And as they go see the priest, they were healed. But here's what you got to get. When you were healed, or you were healed of a sickness in that time, or you were healed of a disease, or you got well, you were cured, you went to the priest to present yourself, and he would give you a stamp of approval to admit you back into the community. And as these 10 go to the priest, they are healed. They are healed. Now listen to this. Here's what it says. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back. 10 healed. One turned back, praising God with a loud voice. And he fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Leper, Samaritan, outcast, needed mercy. And Jesus answered, here's what he says, wasn't there 10 cleansed? Where's the 9? Was no one of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And he said to them, rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. Right here. Do not miss this. 10 were healed. 1 came back and said thanks. All 10 were given a brand new lease on life, could go see their family and friends again. 1 returned to say thanks. Here's the big thing. All 10 had a level of faith because they all went to the priest, did what Jesus said. 1, though, had a different level because he had gratitude. I want to get to the root system of generosity right here, from the front to the back, Oconee 211. Listen to me. We've got to get this. Having faith in God is not the same thing as being grateful to God. What I am saying to Bethlehem Church is just because we are people who claim faith do not mean we are people who are grateful. Jesus blows that up here. You can believe and not be grateful. What separated the one leper from the 9? All of them had faith, one had gratitude. Come on, church. All received the same healing. All received the same new lease on life. One had gratitude. This is what I'm saying. Faith alone is not lead to a life of generosity. You're a person of faith. I'm a person of faith who loves Jesus. It means I'm a generous person. No, it doesn't. Faith alone doesn't lead to generosity. Listen to me. Here's what I'm going to argue for a second. Gratitude is the root of generosity. One was thankful and one went back. Let me tell you what gratitude is, church, from the front to the back. The only response we have to grace. Gratitude is all, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What is the beginning of an abundance mentality? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What is the beginning of a life that invests and gives? It's this attitude, this thought of gratitude. Listen to me. I love this. Let's give these guys a break, because you read this, and I remember hearing this story when I was a kid in church. Dad was a preacher, Sunday school teacher telling the story, and I'm like, man, these 9 guys, what kind of jerks are they? They just been healed. Who in the world do they think they are? I would argue if you went up to all of these guys that went about their way and said, are you grateful? All of them would have said, absolutely. I think every one of them in their heart and in their mind was grateful. I think all of them were like, I've got a new lease on life. I can see my wife again. I can see my kids again. I can see my parents again. I can work again. These guys were excited, and they were so excited about the healing they had, they got consumed in it. And if you would have walked up to them and said, are you grateful? I promise you, all 10 would have said yes. And here's my point. Only one expressed it. What are you saying, Pastor? If we don't choose to express gratitude, by default, we have chosen ingratitude. If you and I don't live a life that chooses to express gratitude, by default, we have chosen ingratitude. Everybody thinks they're grateful. I'm telling you, we don't live grateful lives. Generous people are grateful people. Grateful people make the choice to express their gratitude over and over and over. Listen, right here. All of us in the story, we go, man, I'm the one that comes back. I think Jesus tells this story, and we have this thing because he wants us to know we're more likely than 9 who just keep going. And this is your pastor raising your, oh no, man, I'm the one that comes back. I'm so grateful. Singing a worship song during a 15-minute set on Sunday and lifting your hand to the Lord doesn't mean you live a grateful life. It means you participated in worship. That was an act of worship. That was an act of worship. Like, think about it. We have to teach our children gratitude. All of us in this room. My parents had to teach me gratitude. We just came off Christmas. I didn't have to teach my kids to sit down and make a list for Santa Claus. They knew. I didn't have to teach my kids how to enjoy and how to want and how to ask. Nobody had to teach me how to do that. But you know what every person in this room, right? I know grandparents. Here's the grandparents are my favorite. Well, I know everybody's grandkid's not, but mine's grateful. No, he's not. No, mine's just wonderful. No, he takes the social cues when you clap when he's grateful, okay? Right? We all are born takers, man. It's in us, right? We're all born takers. We have to be taught to say thanks. We teach our kids to say thanks. How many over the holidays when they got a gift from grandparents, from uncles and aunts go, what do you say? What do you say? You didn't have to go, okay, now open the present. Now pull it out and play. No, they know how to do that. Listen to me. You had to look at them and go, what do you say? Listen, this is me. This is Pastor Jason. Here's what I'm saying. Your inner child never goes away. Gratitude's an intentional choice that we live by. It is one thing to think generous thoughts. It's another thing to make generous choices. It's one thing to applaud generosity and go, boy, that's better than greed. It's another thing to choose to live generously. And here's the whole catch. Here's what I've learned. This is me. Again, I'm preaching to myself. Here's what I've learned. I don't choose not to be grateful. I forget to be grateful. Let me tell you why. In the middle of these things right here, let me tell you what happens. We forget gratitude. In the middle of a normal life, the hustle and bustle, pressure, stress, worry, family, places to be, things to see, stuff to accomplish, none of us choose not to be grateful. Let me tell you what we do. We forget to be. We forget to be. It's the simple thought. See, I think the normal life, church, listen to me from front to the back. Normal life, busy, stress, worry, place to be, stuff to do, always going, on my phone, got stuff to go. Woo, here we go. Let me tell you what normal life, it breeds an entitlement mentality. The not normal life chooses a generosity mentality. Normal life, let me tell you what it breeds. What you and I, the culture we live in, it breeds entitlement mentality. Not normal life breeds, it's about choosing a generosity. See, nobody's a natural born giver. We're all natural born takers. Gratitude and generosity aren't hard, they're just not normal. It's irregular, it's out of the ordinary. So let me explain entitlement real quick, because I know none of us in this room are entitled, okay? So this is not for us in this room. It's not for Oconee 211. None of us are entitled, but we all know somebody who is. You know how that works? Okay, so none of us are. But let me make sure we get on the same page of entitlement. Entitlement is the root of we think we deserve, write that word down, deserve, everything we get and everything we have. Or here's the second thing. We're in a capitalistic, consumeristic society. And in that type of society, we think we deserve everything we have and everything we get. Or, gentlemen, we think we've earned everything we have and everything we get. Deserved and earned. Those two words are the root of entitlement. What do you mean? I want you to listen to me. 211 Oconee, right here. Some of you men in this room. When you believe everything you have in your life is deserved or earned, it means nothing's a gift. And when you don't have a gift, then you're not grateful. When you literally believe everything you have in your life is deserved or earned, then nothing's a gift. And if you don't have a gift, there's no reason to be grateful. Come on. What did Jesus' half-brother James say? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. Entitled people think they've earned or they deserve everything. Generous people are grateful for everything they have in their life. What are you saying? I want to say this front to the back, Oconee 211, South Venue, watching online. I want to contend to you as a follower of Jesus. I'm going to say this to you. Everything you have in your life is a gift. Everything I have in my life is a gift. Everything. There is nothing you have that's self-generated. Nothing. Now, let me play devil's advocate for a second with some of you guys, especially some of the tough guys sitting in here. Let me push a little bit. Ladies, you too. Pastor, I hear you, preacher. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not one of them freeloaders. I work hard. I got my degree. In fact, I got a couple of degrees. I get what you're saying. Thankful, it's all a gift, I get you. But bro, I've earned everything I've got. The sweat of my brow. In fact, other people make their living off of me. I built my thing. I built my house. I built my wealth. Okay, really? Let me ask you this. Who let you do that? Who enabled you to do that? What do you mean? Your health, big shot, your intelligence, your ability, your talent, everything you have is a direct result of God's enablement. Do you get me? I love what God reminds Israel when Israel walks into the promised land. For some of them, I get it, be grateful. Let me remind you what God says. Beware, lest you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand have gotten me this wealth. You better beware. America, beware. You shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he may confirm his covenant that he swore to your fathers as it is this day. Did you know that on average, we take 23,000 breaths a day? Each one is a gift, and not self-generated. Breathe it in for a second. That's a gift. Breathe the next one in. That's a gift. You don't give yourself the ability to breathe. You get that, don't you? The picture of the 10 lepers healed. One comes back and says thanks. Look at what Jesus says again. Were not 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Was not one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And he said to him, rise up and go your way. Your faith has made you well. Here's the question I asked when I read this. What if every single leper had his skin cleansed, but only one had their heart cleansed? See, faith in God, church, and gratitude to God are not the same thing. I love how Eugene's my man. He passed away this last year, I think it was. He wrote The Message. It's a modern day paraphrase of Scripture. I don't preach from it. People sometimes get freaked out because they're like, you can't preach from the Message, not the real translation. Sometimes it's cool though, okay? Listen, just relax. I got to stand before God. Sometimes I love his Eugene Peterson, the way he quotes it. Just take a deep breath. It's all good, right? But here's what he says. Here's how he ends that. When Jesus looks at it, he goes, here's the way he puts in a modern day phrase right here. Get up, on your way. Your faith, the one who came back, has healed, and here it is, and saved you. You haven't just received my external healing, you've received my internal healing because you're grateful. For some of us, let me tell you what's lacking in your life is not faith, it's gratitude. For some of us in this life, we love to go, I'm a person of faith. That doesn't mean you're a generous person. Gratitude is the generous mindset. The root of generosity comes from a grateful heart. I earned it. I built it. Get over yourself. God's blessed you. I worked for it. Okay, man, you did. And what happens is when everything is earned and deserved, nothing's a gift, so we have no reason to be grateful. There's no such thing as an ungrateful person that's generous. There's not one. It's not out there. I love what John Bloom says. I got to hurry up here. It's good to be back. I love what John Bloom says. It was reading this. He goes, we might be tempted to think of thankfulness and gratitude as a sort of luxury option in the Christian car, like in the Christian faith. It's a nice feature, but we don't have to drive it. My wife's car's in the shop. So the guys gave me a sweet ride to a loaner. These car salesmen, a bunch of them go here. They know what they're doing, okay? My wife's the car's in the shop, and they gave me a sweet ride, like platinum. I texted the guy yesterday. I'm like, hey, man, I haven't heard about my car yet, but it's all good. I'll keep driving this, okay? I'm good with it. Keep it as long as you want. Sweet. But here, every model of car, doesn't matter what it is, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, base model, standard model, luxury model. Like a base model, nice model, base model, luxury model, platinum. There's three, like cool, really cool, and ridiculous. You know what I mean? That's basically, am I right? The guy right here works at cool, really cool, just stupid nice, okay? Well, I'm driving that just stupid nice one. I want to make sure, that's how we know life. Let me make sure you get this. There is no such thing as normal faith, somewhat serious faith, and radical faith. There's just faith. You get that, don't you? Because I stand on stage and preach to you guys doesn't mean I have some radical faith. It means I'm using the gift God's given me. That's all it means, right? Thankfulness and gratitude is not a luxury option you work into. It's the engine of the whole car, man. It's the engine of the whole car of faith. It's the beginning. It's where it starts. The spiritual cost of being thankless is so much higher than we might think. Thanklessness is not merely, listen to me, an absence of verbalizing thank you. It's spiritual dullness and spiritual poverty. The absence of not being continually grateful and thankful. It's not just like, man, I need to learn. No. It equates to spiritual poverty, spiritual dullness, and apathy. Because it's taking for granted and not appreciating the grace that's been shown to you. The only response the people of grace have to grace is gratitude. That's it. Pastor Robert Morris at Gateway Church, he said it like this. I always remember this book I read. It's just real simple, but I like simple things. God and generous both start with G. Satan and selfish both start with S. You do your thing with that. You take that for what it's worth. But that should keep you straight. Write this down, church. Generosity is a gateway into intimacy with God. What are you saying, Pastor? I want to walk close. There's many of us. I'm back at church. That's why I've had every first couple of weeks every year, 2020. We're going to church this year. Okay. I promise it's going to be different this year. All right. I'm glad you're back, and that's what we want. We think it matters, but here's what I want you to hear in the front and the back. I want to walk closer with God, Pastor. This year I really do. I want to walk closer to God. What would you tell me to do? Be generous. Pastor, I want to be a difference maker. I really do. I've got to be a better father. What do you think? Be generous with your time, with your words, with your encouragement, with your affirmation. Be a generous person. I want to be a better wife. What was one word you would tell me? Be generous. I want to make an impact where I'm at. Generosity. Generosity, a posture of I'm blessed to bless. A posture of I'm so full, I'm looking to encourage. A posture of I don't need, I want to give and invest. And the baseline of that is gratitude. We're going to keep talking about this, but here's a prayer. Come back to this next week. I love this. John Wesley. Some people attribute to him. I don't know. But it's this prayer or declaration. So what does it look like to have a generous life? It's this prayer or declaration. Listen to me, 2:11 Oconee right here. Something I'm going to pray over I'm going to challenge us with these next few weeks as we begin the new year. Generous life, what do you say? John Wesley put it like this. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, and all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. Isn't that good? Oh, church, when you live a posture of blessing, I don't need to be blessed, bro. I got the blessing of God in my life. Then you will do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. Oh, man. I'm not looking to get. I got so much. I'm looking to invest. I'm looking to give. I don't need encouragement. I don't need affirmation. I got the Holy Spirit. What does it look like to live a life of generosity? Get over busy, get over stress, take a deep breath when it comes to pressure, move past worry and go, dude, my life in this time, I'm going to do all the good I can right where God's planted me. And I'm going to do it by all the means I can. And I'm going to do it in all the ways I can. And I'm going to do it all the times I can. And I'm going to do it to all the people I can as long as I ever can. Why? Because I am grateful for the goodness of God in my life and the grace that's been shown to me.